Hello everyone. There is a question we have, and that is saying solve for x. We have to find the value of x, right? Question is sine of bracket of, right? Sine inverse of 1 over 5 addition of cos inverse x bracket close equals 1. What does that mean? See, sine and this particular angle. See, we let me explain something, right? Focus on this, right? We have sine 90 degree equals 1. We know that, and that is sine, that is some degree or radian, right? And that is gives 1. So sine, and there is something angle, and which gives the value of 1. Now, what is the that is called the trigonometric function? What is that? That is called inverse trigonometric function, in which sine of inverse 1, right? Inverse of sine, and that is some particular value. That is a particular value which gives us the angle 30 degree. You can understand this as well. In this example, we have sine of 30 degree equals half. That is a value, that is a trigonometric identity, right? So what is the inverse of this? Like, you can say that if I am inverting that fundamentally, so we are getting this sine inverse half, and that gives the value of 30 degree. You can understand this as well, right? So sine inverse, that is a particular value in inverse of trigonometric functions, that is a particular value of that angle, right? Of that value, sine 30 degree gives 1. So that gives the angle. So I guess you understood this concept. Coming back to our question, now you can easily understand this. Now we have sine over bracket sine inverse 1 over 5 addition of cos inverse x. So you can understand this sine, and this whole part would be a angle, right? That is an angle, that is a particular value of angle, right? And we know that sine inverse something, that is some particular value, and this gives some particular angle, and that is angle. Similarly, this, that gives a particular angle. Angle addition of angle gives angle, so that whole is an angle. Sine of some angle equals 1, right? So we know that sine of some angle equals 1. That's indirectly gives 90 degree. Sine 90 degree equals 1. So that value is 90 degree. Also, alternatively, we have some inverse trigonometric function identity. Sine inverse x addition of cos inverse x equals 90 degree, right? That is a formula. So that is a formula. You can also use that formula and then solve the question. We can indirectly state that sine of some angle equals 1. So there is an angle 90 degree. So this value gives 90 degree, right? So we can write sine inverse of 1 over 5 addition of cos inverse x equals 1. And we know that that whole particular value is nothing but 90 degree. So we can say that if that is 90 degree, and we know that according to this identity, the angle would be same. The angle will be same. Sine inverse some angle plus cos inverse some angle, and that angle should be same. So sorry, that is not an angle. That is something value. That is a particular value. So that particular value, what we say? So that is 1 by 5. So that should be a 1 by 5. So sine inverse 1 by 5 addition of cos inverse. That should be and that must be 1 by 5 to fulfill that identity. And that equals 1. And we know that this equals 90 degree. And we have that. Yeah, I just missed something. Sine bracket. Yeah, that is bracket. And we know that this value gives 90 degree and that is whole 90 degree. So obviously that is sine 90 degrees equal to 1. Consecutively, we get the value of x as 1 by 5 because that must be 1 by 5. So we are done with our question.